హలో ఆస్పిరెంట్స్, వెల్కమ్ టు జీడీసీ ఇంగ్లీష్ క్లాసెస్. సో ఈ వీడియోలో మనం కార్డియోవాస్కులర్ సిస్టమ్ సంబంధించి ఇంపార్టెంట్ డ్రగ్స్ గురించి డిస్కస్ చేద్దాము. వాటి ఎంసీక్యూస్ వాటి ఆన్సర్స్. సో ముందుగా అందరూ ఎలా ఉన్నారు? ఐ హోప్ మీ ప్రిపరేషన్ బాగా జరుగుతుంది అనుకుంటున్నాను. సో ఈ రోజు చూసుకుంటే కనుక ఈరోజు 23 డేట్. సో ఇంకా ఎగ్జాక్ట్గా ఈ రోజుతో కలిపి 5 డేస్ మాత్రమే ఉన్నాయి ఏపీ పీజీ సెట్ ఎగ్జామ్కి. ఐ హోప్ మీరు చాలా సీరియస్గా ప్రిపేర్ అవుతున్నాను అనుకుంటున్నాను. సో అదే కంటిన్యూ చేయండి, రివైజ్ చేయండి, ఎక్కడా కూడా సాచురేట్ అవ్వద్దు. ఎందుకంటే కనుక మీకు యూనివర్సిటీస్లో కనుక టాప్ ర్యాంక్స్ వస్తే డెఫినెట్గా మీకు ఫీజు రియంబర్స్మెంట్ కూడా వచ్చే ఛాన్స్ ఉంటుంది. అండ్ ఏదైతే కోల్పోయారో, ఒకవేళ మీరు జీపేట్ నైపర్ అనుకున్నారు, జీపేట్ మీరు క్వాలిఫై అవ్వలేదు కాబట్టి నైపర్కి వెళ్ళాం అనుకుంటే కనుక దాని గురించి అయితే టెన్షన్ రాసిన పని ఏం లేదు. జీపేట్ రాసి నైపర్ రాసిన వాళ్ళు సక్సెస్ అయ్యారు, జీపేట్ నైపర్ రాయకుండా ఉన్న వాళ్ళు కూడా ఫార్మా ఫీల్డ్లో సక్సెస్ అయ్యారు. బట్ అల్టిమేట్గా మిమ్మల్ని మీరు ఎలా ముందుకు తీసుకెళ్లాలనుకుంటున్నారు, మీరు ఎటువంటి పొజిషన్కి వెళ్ళాలనుకుంటున్నారు అనేది మీ యొక్క పర్సనాలిటీ, మీ యొక్క enthusiasm towards getting success in the life. So without delay, so let's enter into the session with first MCQ of cardiovascular system. So here the MCQ is given is the sildenafil is used for treatment of one of the following disorders. So sildenafil is used for the treatment of one of the following disorder. So options like systemic hypertension, unstable angina, pulmonary hypertension, hypertension due to eclampsia. Eclampsia means especially in case of pregnant women, severe hyper conditions, pregnant women. And here you know that sildenafil is one of the drug. It is commonly with brand name Viagra in treatment of erectile dysfunction. But in the options it is not there. So then what is your answer? So your answer will be the systemic hypertension, unstable angina, pulmonary hypertension, hypertension due to eclampsia. So answer is pulmonary hypertension. Sildenafil is phosphodiesterase enzyme 5 inhibitor, helps in the treatment of pulmonary hypertension. If it is clearly mentioned erectile dysfunction, then the answer is erectile dysfunction. So simply sildenafil is sold under the brand name Viagra. Among the others is medication used to treat erectile dysfunction and pulmonary arterial hypertension. It is unclear if it is effective for treating sexual dysfunction in the women. It is taken by mouth or injection into the vein. Next question. Regarding the next question, in congestive cardiac failure, digitalis glycosides are used because it increases the heart rate, the force of myocardial contraction, the venous pressure, the cardiac filling pressure. So start thinking. So what is your answer? So first of all here, digitalis, nothing but digoxin, one of the drug commonly for treatment of congestive heart failure. It is naturally from the digitalis purpurea, belong to the family Scrophulariaceae. And digitalis is a cardinolide. It containing 5-member lactone ring at the C17 position of dioxin structure. So here, and especially in congestive heart failure, there is a abnormality. The fluid present in the heart is unable to coming out due to decrease in the force of contraction. That's why the drugs like digitalis glycosides, what they will do, they increase the force of myocardial contraction and try to increase the contractions and try to increase the elimination of fluids from the inside of the heart to outside of the heart and control the congestion, abnormality in the heart contraction. So this is regarding explanation simply. So here ultimately what happened, contraction capacity of heart increases because of that the excess and abnormal fluid in the heart goes outside. Next. Which of the following drug is a non-selective beta and alpha blocker? Metoprolol, carvedilol, sotalol, timolol. So asking both alpha plus beta mixed blocker, and it is a non-selective. Coming to the metoprolol, a selective beta blocker. Coming to the carvedilol, and sotalol is a class 3 antiarrhythmic, can block potassium channels, can block beta receptors also. Coming to the timolol, a non-selective beta receptor blocker, helps in the treatment of glaucoma. So here carvedilol, a mixed alpha plus beta non-selective blocker. So the answer is simply carvedilol. Carvedilol, labetalol, mixed alpha plus beta blocker. So this is regarding the explanation, especially with the classification of beta blockers. Next question. Regarding the next one, which of the following drug is a potassium channel opener used in the angina pectoris? So that opens the potassium channels and helps in the treatment of angina pectoris. So let's start thinking. So angina pectoris, nothing but chest pain due to abnormal or decreasing blood flow to the heart through the coronary artery. It is simply known as coronary artery disease. In the coronary artery disease, one of the sign or symptom is chest pain. So answers like ranolazine, nicorandil, verapamil, propranolol. So ranolazine is a new category of drug in treatment of angina, and nicorandil is potassium channel opener, verapamil a calcium channel blocker, and propranolol a non-selective beta blocker contraindicated in asthma. Blocking of beta 1 decreasing hypertension, but blocking of beta 2 receptors in the lungs by propranolol increase the contraction of lungs may develop asthma-like symptoms. That's why don't take propranolol in asthma patient. So here answer is a nicorandil, a potassium channel opener helps in the treatment of angina pectoris. So this is a classification of drugs in treatment of angina pectoris like nitrates, increase nitric oxide, beta blockers, blocks beta receptors, decrease the cardiac contraction and reduce the angina. Calcium channel blockers blocks calcium channels. Potassium channel opener opens the potassium channel. Opening of potassium channels causes hyperpolarization due to decreasing positive voltage within the cell membrane that leads to the relaxation or dilation of the coronary artery, that is a blood vessel. Next question. The reason of beta blockers administration for hypertension treatment is the reason of beta blockers administration for hypertension treatment. Peripheral vasodilation, diminishing of the blood volume, decreasing of the heart work, depression of vasomotor center. So hypertension, excess blood pressure, high pressure exert against on the blood vessels as well as heart also. So here, why beta blockers are used? Beta blockers simply they block beta receptors on the heart, decreasing the cardiac muscle contraction and decrease the blood pressure across the blood vessels all over the body. So how the beta blocker shows their action, especially they help by decreasing heart work, decreasing the heart work. If heart work is decreased, the blood flow, excess blood flow will decrease. If the excess blood flow will decrease, the blood pressure in the heart also decreases. Next, this is explanation. So these are mainly used beta blockers majorly to treat hypertension, ability to reduce heart rate and cardiac output, blocking the effects of adrenaline and other stress hormones on the heart by interfering with beta receptors function. So going to the next MCQ. Which drug has both class 2 and class 3 antiarrhythmic action? So arrhythmias, abnormal rhythm of the heart. So different types of arrhythmias, bradyarrhythmias, tachyarrhythmias. Coming to the other point, atrial fibrillation, atrial flutter, Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome, torsade D point is ventricular tachyarrhythmias. There are different arrhythmias out there. So arrhythmias are generally tachyarrhythmias due to domination of sympathetic nervous system, bradyarrhythmias due to decreasing parasympathetic function. So here, propranolol, yes, a non-selective beta blocker. Sotanolol, a antiarrhythmic. Quinidine, class 1A antiarrhythmic. Verapamil, class 4 antiarrhythmic calcium channel blocker. So sotalol a class 2 antiarrhythmic block the beta receptors as well as it can also act as a class 3 antiarrhythmic by blocking the potassium channels. So answer is very clear. Sotalol is answer. It is a mixed class 2 and class 3. In class 3 block the potassium channel. In class 2 block the beta receptors. So classification of antiarrhythmics. So class 1, class 2, class 3, class 4 and class 5 drugs for PSVT, paroxysmal supraventricular tachycardia, where the heartbeat more than 200 beats per minute. And class this drugs for PSVT also known as class 5 antiarrhythmic, miscellaneous category of antiarrhythmic with example adenosine deoxyn. Next question. All are arteriolar dilators except hydralazine, minoxidil, nitrates, nitroprusside. All are arterial dilators. So here, simple. This is about vasodilators. Vasodilators dilates the blood vessel, decrease the blood pressure, nothing but hypertension. And in the vasodilators, arterial vasodilator, venous vasodilators. Here the question, all are dilate the arteries except so hydrogen, minoxidil, nitrates, nitroprusside. So hydrogen, minoxidil, even digoxide also. Digoxide also one of the arteriolar vasodilator. Arteriolar vasodilator. Answer is here nitrates like organic nitrates drugs are common for treatment of angina pectoris. And even సో చాలా సార్లు నేను మీకు చెప్పున్నాను మీరు ఇంక 28వ తారీఖు అయిపోయింది కదా అనుకుని రిలాక్స్ అయితే అవ్వద్దు, డైలీ చదువుతూనే ఉండాలి. ఎందుకంటే మీరు ఏ నోటిఫికేషన్ డ్రగ్ ఇన్స్పెక్టర్ ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఒక 200 డ్రగ్ ఇన్స్పెక్టర్ నోటిఫికేషన్ వస్తుంది అనుకుందాము యూపీఎస్సి ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్. సో అది కూడా ఈ ఇయర్లో ఖచ్చితంగా వస్తుంది అంటున్నారు. ఎవరైతే కంటిన్యూస్ ప్రిపరేషన్ ఉంటారో వాళ్ళకే వస్తుంది. 200 సీట్స్ కి దాదాపు 2 లక్షలు అంతకన్నా ఎక్కువ మంది పోటీ పడే ఛాన్స్ ఉంది ఇండియా మొత్తం మీద. సో ఆ సంఖ్య గురించి మీరు భయపడకుండా మీ యొక్క ఎబిలిటీస్ గురించి మీరు ఫోకస్ చేస్తూ మీరు ప్రిపరేషన్ కంటిన్యూ అప్కమింగ్ ఆర్ఆర్బి ఫార్మసిస్ట్ రావచ్చు, ఎయిమ్స్ ఫార్మసిస్ట్ రావచ్చు, అదర్ ఈఎస్ఐసి ఫార్మసిస్ట్ రావచ్చు, సిజిహెచ్ సెంట్రల్ గవర్నమెంట్ హెల్త్ స్కీమ్ రావచ్చు, ఏదైనా సరే మీరు కంటిన్యూస్ గా ప్రిపరేషన్ ఒక 1 year ఉండాల్సిందే, కొట్టేదాకా ఉండాల్సిందే. లేదు అంటే కనుక 20,000 30,000తో మీరు సరిపెట్టుకోవాల్సి ఉంటుంది. సో ఈ రోజుల్లో అవి అస్సలు సరిపోవు. 1,00,000 వచ్చినా కూడా సో ఇట్ ఈస్ లిటిల్ బిట్ డిఫికల్ట్ రన్నింగ్ ఏ ఫ్యామిలీ. మీరు కొంచెం తెలివితేటలతో ఉంటే కనుక ముందుకెళ్ళచ్చు. చదువుతో పాటు తెలివితేటలు అట్ ద సేమ్ టైం సాధించే వరకు ఆపకూడదు. బోరు కొడుతుంది డైలీ చదవటము, ఇబ్బందిగా ఉంటుంది, ఫ్రస్ట్రేషన్ వస్తుంది, కష్టంగా ఉంటుంది, తప్పదు. ఒక్క 1 year కనుక నువ్వు కూర్చొని కష్టపడితే తర్వాత 30 years డెఫినెట్గా యూ హ్యావ్ ఎ బెటర్ లైఫ్. ఇంకా నువ్వు స్మార్ట్ అయితే కనుక యూ హ్యావ్ మోర్ బెటర్ లైఫ్. థ్యాంక్ యూ. సో arterial vasodilators, hydrogen monoxide, nitroprusside digoxide, venodilators, AC inhibitors, ARBs, calcium channel blockers, nitroglycerin. I hope you know that many times I told you you can call me at any time regarding any coaching details, any support, any mentorship, any guidance in possible way I can help you. So you can call me on your number, that is you know that 7995318103. Moving to the next question. So what is the next question here? During the selective reabsorption in kidneys, the increase in reabsorption of sodium in done by. So generally, so options like renin, aldosterone, atrial natriuretic peptide, calcitonin. So calcitonin simply regulates the calcium. Atrial natriuretic peptide, it helps in the atrial natriuretic peptide. So natriuresis. Natriuresis means increased elimination of sodium. Increased elimination of sodium. Aldosterone, one of the hormone steroid, also known as mineralocorticoid, involves in sodium and water absorption at the kidney. Renin, release of renin from the kidney helps in increasing the blood pressure. But here question, which hormone involves in the reabsorption of sodium in the kidney? The simple answer is mineralocorticoid aldosterone. Mineralocorticoid aldosterone. And aldosterone is a steroid. The steroid is binding to the nuclear receptors, also known as steroidal receptors, also known as cytoplasmic receptors, also known as cytoplasmic receptors. So this is the explanation here. And this aldosterone is adrenal gland, released from the adrenal gland in response to renin-angiotensin aldosterone system. Next, potassium channel opener with the anti-anginal activity, nicorandin, dipyridamole, trimetazidine, oxyfedrine. So potassium channel opener with anti-anginal activity. So nicorandin, dipyridamole, trimetazidine, oxyfedrine. All this list of drugs helps in the treatment of angina. But here one of the drug is a potassium channel opener. Potassium channel opener. So opening of potassium channels means efflux of potassium from within the cell membrane to outside of the cell membrane. So sodium is not there, potassium is not there, calcium is not there in the cell membrane. Because of that, it leads to increase in negative voltage within the cell membrane, and it may develop dilation or relaxation of the coronary artery, and that leads to widening of coronary artery, increases oxygen blood flow to the heart, and control symptoms of angina pectoris. Answer is nicorandil. So this is regarding the explanation. So nicorandil, pinacidil, chromacalcium are potassium channel openers. Next question. Which of the following antiarrhythmic drug decrease the action potential duration in the Purkinje fibers? Like SA node, AV node, Purkinje fibers. These are the segments of conduction of cardiac muscle. So quinidine, flecainide, amiodarone, lidocaine. So which of the following antiarrhythmic drug decrease the action potential duration in the Purkinje fibers? If the action potential number of action potential increases, cardiac muscle contraction increases. Abnormal cardiac muscle contractions develops arrhythmias, abnormal rhythm in the heart, abnormal rhythm in the heart. So here, one of the drug, so alquinidine is a class 1A antiarrhythmic. Flecainide, ancanide, Morris is in class 1C. Amiodarone, class 3 antiarrhythmic. Lidocaine or lignocaine, a class 1B antiarrhythmic. And the answer is here, lidocaine helps in the decreasing abnormal action potential in the Purkinje fibers. So this is the explanation of this MCQ. Next question. Regarding the next one, during the selective reabsorption kidneys, the increase in, I hope the same question is repeated. So aldosterone is one of the mineralocorticoid a steroid hormone, helps in the reabsorption of sodium and water at the kidneys. If aldosterone function increases, more sodium and water reabsorption increases into the body, that may develop increase in fluid volume and blood volume, ultimately increase hypertension. That's why in the hypertension treatment, aldosterone antagonist also useful. And this question already repeated, unfortunately. Next, which of the following is a phosphodiesterase 3 inhibitors used in peripheral vascular disease? So, peripheral vascular disease, the disease in the blood vessels peripherally. This is the central one, this is the peripheral one. So, example like cilostazol, ticlopidine, nifedipine, prazosin. So, ticlopidine, a P2 white cell receptor antagonist antiplatelet. Nifedipine, a calcium channel blocker. Prazosin, a selective alpha-1 receptor blocker. So here, one of the drug is a phosphodiesterase 3 inhibitor. So among this phosphodiesterase 3 inhibitor is a simply cilostazol. So you have to understand the question first, and after that you have to understand, okay, what is this drug, what is this drug, what is this drug. So here cilostazol is only having the phosphodiesterase 3 inhibitor activity. Because of that, it is used in peripheral vascular disease. So this is a classification of anti-anginal again, not an anti-anginal mixed category. Next question. Regarding the next question, inhibition of conversion of the following is the mechanism of action of angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitors, like renin to angiotensinogen, angiotensinogen to angiotensin, angiotensin 1 to angiotensin 2, angiotensin 2 to angiotensin 3. So this is a basic question. You have the knowledge, but don't confuse. Be cautious and conscious. So inhibition of conversion of one of the following mechanism helps in the treatment of hypertension, especially here, angiotensin converting enzyme involves in conversion of angiotensinogen to angiotensin 1, angiotensin to angiotensin 2. So, angiotensin 2 is a potent vasoconstrictor, increase the blood pressure. If you prevent production of angiotensin 2, then you can decrease hypertension, nothing but blood pressure. So, inhibition of conversion of angiotensin 1 to angiotensin 2 decrease the hypertension, and for that purpose you have to inhibit the angiotensin converting enzyme. So the answer is very simple, option C. Option C is the answer. So this is regarding the explanation how renin angiotensin system involves. So angiotensin 1 to angiotensin 2. Angiotensin 2 is a potent vasoconstrictor. You can inhibit the ACE enzyme and decrease angiotensin to reduce the blood pressure. Next question. Which of the antihypertensive is topically for the alopecia? Alopecia, loss of hair. As a remedy for alopecia or to control alopecia, one of the drugs useful. Enalapril, ACE inhibitor. Minoxidil, vasodilator. Isosorbide dinitrate, drug for angina. Levethalol, mixed alpha plus beta blocker. Levethalol is a mixed alpha plus beta blocker. So here, I hope you know the answer. So minoxidil is a vasodilator antihypertensive, but minoxidil 1% drops in men can be helps in control alopecia, maybe a small remedy for the alopecia, temporary remedy for the alopecia. But doctor suggestion is important. Consulting the doctor is very, very important. Answer is option B. Okay, minoxidil is a product converts to minoxidil sulfate and helps in the treatment of hypertension as well as directly stimulates the hair growth. Okay, and it may develops hypertrichosis, increase the hair growth, hypertrichosis. Okay, next question. Which of the following is the longest acting beta blocker? Longest acting esmolol, nadolol, sotalol, pindolol. All are beta blockers, but they ask the question longest acting. So do you know the answer? Let's check your brain. So what is your answer? Esmolol, a ultra short acting, nadolol, sotalol, pindolol. So like these questions, sometimes you feel difficult to do the answer. But here the question answer is nadolol is the longest acting beta blocker. Beta blockers they act on the beta 1 receptors, decrease the cardiac muscle contraction. But non-selective beta blockers like propranolol they block beta 2 receptors in lungs, may increase the risk of asthma. Don't use non-selective beta blockers like propranolol in asthma patient. And this is the table, the property and the beta blocker, high lipid soluble, high water soluble, long acting. So remember, long acting only mentioned Nadolol only, long acting Nadolol, long acting Nadolol. Next, class 3 antiarrhythmic, disopyramide, procainamide, amiodarone, quinidine. So classifications చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్. సో క్లాసిఫికేషన్స్ మాత్రం మీరు మిస్ చేయొద్దు, బట్టి కొట్టండి, గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి, ట్రిక్స్ యూజ్ చేయండి. ఎందుకంటే మీరు అల్టిమేట్గా ఎగ్జామ్లో సక్సెస్ అవ్వాలంటే మీ గురించి మీరు ఆలోచిస్తూ మిమ్మల్ని మీరు ఏ విధంగా మీ ప్రిపరేషన్లో ముందుకు తీసుకెళ్ళగలరు, ఎంత సీరియస్గా మీరు ప్రిపేర్ అవ్వగలరు అంటే మీ మీద కాన్ఫిడెన్స్ పెరుగుతూ ఉండాలి. సో కాన్ఫిడెన్స్ ఈజ్ వన్ ఆఫ్ ద మేజర్ అండ్ కీ ఇంగ్రీడియంట్. సో మీరు డెవలప్ చేసుకోగలిగితే కనుక ఎస్ మిమ్మల్ని మీరు ముందుకు తీసుకెళ్ళచ్చు. So disopyramide, procainamide, amiodarone, quinidine. So class 3 is the amiodarone. Amiodarone is a potassium channel blocker, comes under class 3 antiarrhythmic. Sotalol, a class 3 antiarrhythmic as well as class 2 antiarrhythmic also. Answer is very simple, amiodarone. So this is the classification of antiarrhythmic drugs. Next, which of the following condition is called as a heart attack? Angina pectoris, coronary blockage, myocardial infarction, hypertension, heart attack, a sudden attack in the heart, a sudden decrease in the function of heart. So, which condition? So, angina pectoris is commonly chest pain. Coronary blockage, blocking of coronary blood vessel leads to decrease in oxygenated blood supply to the myocardium. Myocardial infarction, particular area of the heart become dead because of lack of oxygenated blood supply. So the answer is very clear, myocardial infarction. Myocardial infarction. Next, so this is the definitions of these are the definition myocardial infarction, angina pectoris, hypertension. Next, non-centrally acting antihypertensive is methyl-dopa, clonidine, minoxidil, guanabenzine. Non-centrally acting antihypertensive is methyl-dopa, clonidine, minoxidil, guanabenzine. So minoxidil is a arterial vasodilator. Guanabenzine, clonidine, methyl-dopa are centrally acting. They act on the CNS and stimulate the alpha-2 receptors in the CNS. So stimulation of alpha-2 receptors in the CNS decrease noradrenaline release that leads to decrease sympathetic flow to the peripheral and control hypertension. So the answer is very clear. Minoxidil acts peripherally and this methyl dopa, alpha methyl dopa, chloridine, guanabenzine, guanafacin, they act on the central alpha 2 receptor. Stimulation of central alpha 2 receptors leads to decreasing noradrenaline release because of that alpha receptors are autoreceptor. Autoreceptor is a receptor inhibit the release of its own neurotransmitter from the presynapse to postsynapse that leads to decreasing noradrenaline release, decreasing sympathetic flow to the heart, and control nothing but reduce hypertension by acting through the central nervous system. So methyl dopa, clonidine, guanabins are central alpha 2 receptor agonist. So this is regarding the explanation. So central sympatholytics and arterial vasodilator is a minoxidil. That is very clear. Next question. Which of the following ARB is a prodrug? Like telmisartan, losartan, valsartan, olmesartan. So all these sartans are angiotensin receptor blockers. They directly block the angiotensin receptor and controls hypertension. So among this, which one is a prodrug? Remember, olmesartan is a prodrug. Olmesartan. Olmesartan is a prodrug from the this list of drugs mentioned here. Answer is option D. So prodrugs means once they enter into the body, they convert to active drug. Next, losartan is a losartan. All sartans are angiotensin receptor blocker. By blocking angiotensin receptor, so AT1 receptor vasoconstriction, AT2 receptor vasodilation. So our drugs should block the AT1 receptor and decrease the vasoconstriction, should increase the blood pressure. Sorry, decrease the blood pressure. So losartan is a selective AT1 receptor antagonist, selective AT2 receptor antagonist, non-selective AT1 plus AT2, and AT1 receptor partial agonist. So remember, angiotensin receptors are AT1, AT2. AT2 responsible for vasodilation. So don't disturb AT2 receptor. So you have to block AT1 receptors to control hypertension and vasoconstriction. To make vasoconstriction to vasodilation, that's why losartan is selectively blocking the angiotensin 1 receptors, AT1 receptors, all sartans are AT1 receptor blockers. That is very clear. Okay, so let's see the explanation. So why it is specifically blocking AT1 and less effective on the AT2. Next question. Calcium channel blocker with the predominant peripheral action. Predominant peripheral action. Nicardipine, verapamil, nifedipine, as well as diltiazem. So dipines are dihydropyridines. Dipines are calcium channel blockers. They shows mainly action on the well, so diltiazem, all these are calcium channel blockers. Verapamil is having high selectivity on the heart and little bit low selectivity on the blood vessel. Diltiazem is also having more action on the heart, very few affinity towards blood vessel. Coming to the nicardipine, nifedipine, all depends are highly effective on the blood vessel. And the first dihydropyridine, nifedipine, is a calcium channel blocker effective for effectively acts on the peripheral part. Next. So this is the explanation. So nifedipine is the first and prototype of dihydropyridine, and nifedipine rapidly, especially it may develop a reflex action hypertension. So dipines effectively causes vasodilation that leads to decreasing blood pressure. Because of rapid decreasing blood pressure, the heart may produce reflex action to produce the hypertension. So due to decrease in the blood pressure, there is reflex action of heart. That is a reflex tachycardia. Due to decrease in the blood pressure, heart may increase its contractions to neutralize this decreasing blood pressure. That is known as reflex conditions. Next question. Regarding the next MCQ, following agents are predominantly arterial vasodilators except like diazoxide, hydrogen, prazosin, minoxidil. Following agents are predominantly arterial dilators. Predominantly. So diazoxide, hydrogen, minoxidil. So these are remember HMD, hydrogen, minoxidil, diazoxide are arterial vasodilator. When coming to the prazosin, prazosin is a selective alpha 1 receptor blockers on the blood vessel and helps in the treatment of hypertension. Next question. So this is a classification of antihypertensives in detail along with their subclassification and examples. Next question. The mechanism of action of sodium nitroprusside increases cyclic adenosine monophosphate, increase intracellular cyclic GMP, calcium channel blockers, potassium channel opener. So sodium nitroprusside. Sodium nitroprusside name itself indicating it is a nitrate. It increases nitric oxide. Increases nitric oxide in the blood vessel, increases cyclic guanosine monophosphate. Cyclic guanosine monophosphate on the blood vessel causes vasodilation, nothing but a relaxation of the blood vessel. That is very clear. So cyclic adenosine monophosphate, cyclic guanosine monophosphate, inositol triphosphate, diacylglycerol, inositol triphosphate, diacylglycerol. So these are generally known as secondary messengers. These are known as secondary messengers. Next. So this is the explanation. So nitroprusside acts to release of nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a potent vasodilator and also known as EDRF, endothelium derived relaxing factor. Next question. Which of the following drug can cause torsade depointis? Torsade depointis, that is known as ventricular tachyarrhythmias, especially prolongation of QT interval in the heart develop this torsade depointis, ventricular tachyarrhythmias, abnormal contractions of heart increases tachyarrhythmias. So which of the following drug can cause? So quinidine, lignocaine, esmolol, flecainide. So all of these drugs commonly in high doses causes this torsade depointis, nothing but ventricular tachyarrhythmias. But the quinidine may block calcium channel, sodium channel, potassium channel. Even at a medium dose also, the quinidine may cause this torsade depointis. Quinidine is a class 1A antiarrhythmic. Quinidine, dextroisomer active. Quinine, L isomer active. The L isomer is a anti-malarial drug. The D isomer is a anti-arrhythmic drug. Class 1A anti-arrhythmic drug. So so here the drug causes most of these drugs commonly cause torsade depointis in high dose, but even at the medium dose also the quinidine can easily cause torsade depointis. That is a polymorphic ventricular tachycardia. Next, quinidine exerts its action on heart by calcium channel blocking, sodium channel blocking, potassium channel blocking, chloride channel blocking. Quinidine is a multiple action. At high doses, it can block sodium. So quinidine having multiple action, but general quinidine is a class 1A antiarrhythmic. So what is the action of class 1A antiarrhythmic? Class 1 antiarrhythmics means simply block the sodium channels. So decreasing the sodium channels, decreasing the contraction of the heart and reduce the abnormal contraction nothing but tachyarrhythmias. So answer is very simple. Option D is the answer. So this is the explanation. Quinidine is a dextroisomer and quinine is a L isomer antiarrhythmic. Dextroisomer D depress the heart antiarrhythmic activity. Next question. So here the drug of choice in patient with Parkinson-White syndrome with fibrillation. So like in the arrhythmias there are different categories are there. So one of the category is atrial fibrillation. In atrial fibrillation the number of heartbeat nearly 500. Emergency condition, dangerous condition, atrial fibrillation. So in that condition, the drug of choice in patient with Wolff Parkinson White syndrome with fibrillation. So digital is procainamide, verapamil as well as adenosine. So digital is what is the use? CHF, procainamide, a class 1 antiarrhythmic, verapamil, a calcium channel blocker, adenosine having fast onset of action, shows action within 15 seconds. So because of this reason, this drug is effectively in treatment of this Wolff Parkinson White syndrome with fibrillation, where the heartbeat is nearly 500 beats per minute. Very dangerous condition to make it to control immediately. This adenosine is a drug of choice among all these drugs because adenosine having fast onset of action shows action within the 15 seconds as a antiarrhythmic drug. So generally preference goes to the adenosine, but it is mentioned procainamide. So let's once check from your side also. Okay, so answer is procainamide or lidocaine. Sorry for inconvenience, but adenosine having very fast onset of action. And next, Beta blockers are axon generally phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. These phases are belongs to the cardiac action potential. Phase 1, sodium channel domination. Phase 2, there is a domination of a resting phase. Phase 3, potassium channels domination. Phase 4, calcium channel domination. So beta blockers are generally shows their action on the beta receptor. So then on what phase? Our beta blockers are shows their action on phase 4. On the phase 4, there is an entry of calcium and there is an increase in cardiac muscle function. To control the cardiac muscle function, beta blockers used to control phase 4 of the cardiac action potential. Next, digoxin acts on by inhibiting sodium potassium ATPase enzyme, myosin light chain kinase, sodium chloride antiport, GLUT4 glucose transport 4. Digoxin, a excellent drug for treatment of congestive heart failure. Digoxin. So this digoxin shows action by. So what is your answer? So generally, digoxin acts by sodium potassium ATPase enzyme inhibition that leads to increasing sodium and along with sodium calcium concentration also increases in the cardiac muscle and increase the force of contraction of heart. Increase the force of contraction of heart and eliminate the excess fluids from the heart and helps in the treatment of congestive heart failure. Option A is the answer. So this is a clear explanation regarding how digital is increase the force of contraction of heart by directly acts on the sodium potassium ATPase enzyme. Digoxin inhibit the sodium potassium ATPase enzyme. Next, drug not which is a contraindicated in the ischemic heart disease. So so here drug which is contraindicated in ischemic heart disease. Ischemic heart disease, ischemia, where there is a the particular part of the tissue become dead because of lack of oxygenated blood supply through the coronary artery. So here, atenolol, AC inhibitors, isoproterenol, as well as streptokinase drug is contraindicated in this ischemic heart disease is the that is isoproterenol. Isoproterenol is a cardiac muscle stimulant like adrenaline. So even ischemic condition where the tissue of the cardiac muscle is damaged, still you are trying to increase in the cardiac muscle contraction means there is an increase in the damage of heart. So that's why. So don't prefer this isoproterenol in treatment of ischemic heart disease. Ischemic heart disease. So this is regarding the explanation. So isoproterenol is a beta receptor agonist, contraindicated in ischemic heart disease. It can increase the myocardial oxygen demand, may cause tachycardia. The toxicity of the digitalis is increased due to entry of calcium ion, depletion of potassium ion, depletion of sodium ion, all of this. Digital is a good drug for treatment of CHF, but even at the medium dose also, digitalis may itself generate arrhythmias. Digitalis may itself damage the heart muscle function. So that's why digitalis, nothing but digoxin monitoring is essential while treatment, while giving to the patient. So because of which factor the digitalis toxicities become excess. Increased calcium, depletion of potassium, depletion of sodium, all of this. Depletion of potassium. Depletion of potassium leads to increasing the force of contraction of heart. So, continuous increase in contraction of force of contraction of heart may develop abnormal function, abnormal heart rhythm, that is tachycardia. That's why digitalis should be supplemented with potassium on the toxicity, on the high dose treatment. So the answer is very clear. So what is the reason behind toxicity of digitalis? That is depletion of potassium leads to decreasing heart muscle and increasing the activation of heart muscle may develop tachyarrhythmias, abnormal heart rhythm. The most common precipitating cause of digitalis intoxication is depletion of potassium stores, which occurs often in patients with heart failure as result of diuretic therapy and secondary hyperaldosteronism also. Using of diuretics also a cause of digitalis toxicity and hyperaldosteronism. Excess increasing aldosterone also develops digitalis toxicity if this aldosterone combined with the digitalis. If the diuretics are combined with the digitalis, there is an increasing chance of toxicity of the digitalis because depletion of potassium. hypokalemia increase the risk of digitalis toxicity. That is low levels of potassium in the blood, nothing but plasma. So this is regarding our session. సో మీ ప్రిపరేషన్ అలానే కంటిన్యూ చేయండి. సో ఎక్కడ కూడా అశ్రద్ధ అయితే చేయొద్దు. సో ఇదే విధంగా కంటిన్యూ చేయండి. మీరు చదువుతుంది రాబోయే ఫార్మసిస్ట్, డ్రగ్ ఇన్స్పెక్టర్ కూడా మీరు చదువుతున్నారు. సో ఎటువంటి గైడెన్స్ కావాలన్నా కూడా మీరు నాకు కాల్ చేయొచ్చు. ఆల్ ది బెస్ట్.